So finally, the day is here. We have a brand new update from the Outriders team. Check it out. They say this: we have just released a new patch that addresses the bug that has been causing the inventories of certain players to be wiped. So here it is. The patch is out. Go get it. We're going to be talking about that, plus a bunch of other updates from Square Enix in just a moment. Plus this right here: Outriders commits one big looter-shooter sin, but hopefully it doesn't commit the other. We'll dive in just a moment. So, hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good, and let's do this. So, finally, this is so freaking exciting. Very good news for Outriders fans everywhere. Let's dive into the post right here. So, once again, the patch is out right now. Go download it for yourselves. We're going to go ahead and dive into the extensive link right here and jump over to the subreddit, shall we? So this comes from Square Enix. They say this: hello everyone, we have just released a patch on Steam, Epic, Xbox, and PlayStation platforms that addresses the bug that has, since the previous update, been causing the inventories of certain players to be wiped. If your inventory has been impacted, please note that our efforts to restore your items are a separate process from today's released patch. Restoring the inventory of affected players is still our highest priority, while today's patch is intended to prevent the issue from continuing to occur. The restoration process is run via our server database and does not require a patch to be implemented. We will have news of this very soon. So yeah, look out on the channel. I'll probably have another video up here very soon. But let's keep going and see what they have to say here. They have some important information. They say this: with this new patch, some players may occasionally encounter multiplayer connectivity issues followed by inventory items being momentarily invisible. Oh my god. This is a known and only temporary behavior that is part of our 3-step inventory safeguarding measures. Restarting your game or waiting a few minutes and then restarting your game should make your items appear again. We aim to address this occurrence of these edge cases in a future patch. If you do encounter a wipe that occurs after installing the patch and is not resolved following a game restart, please immediately report this in this edge case subreddit. So yeah, that's going to be available to you guys. I will again throw all the links in the description below, but my god, hopefully you guys don't experience that at all. So please be sure to let them know. You can see the thread right here. It says inventory wipe edge case reporting subthread. And you can answer all their questions if you do have any issues. Hopefully you don't. That's the point. But let's go back to that initial thread right now, shall we? So they continue onward and they say this: while we are confident that the patch will prevent inventory wipes in the future, we do want to use the weekend to continue monitoring the situation and ensure that no more players are encountering any related issues before we move into the restoration process. Now, as soon as we are satisfied by the patch's effectiveness, we will share extra details, including timelines of our upcoming inventory restoration process. While our teams, have mainly focused on preventing any further inventory wipes, we have also continued to look at ways of improving our restoration process. We will update you with the final details as soon as we have tested and confirmed what is possible. Now, it says for any affected characters currently encountering a couldn't connect to server, these characters will have their inventories returned and they will become fully playable again as soon as our restoration process has completed. Please keep an eye out on upcoming announcements regarding restorations and other Outriders related news updates. Yeah, so if they have any more news updates, I will have you guys covered. Do not worry about it. I'll have a video out pretty much immediately for you all. But yeah, there's the news. Also about the restoration process and what to expect there. And also, if your character is like locked right now, you have to wait for that restoration process to actually go through. All right, so let's continue onward, shall we? So we have some questions from the community and some responses from Square Enix about this new patch. Justice says this: do you have any ETA when the inventory and character will be restored? Square Enix replies saying, the ETA depends on a chain, of events from now, which is why it's not possible to provide it today. I'm a little under the weather, so I apologize about that. They say this: first, we want to ensure that the patch is working as intended. If that's all good, we then import the final analytics data that is required for the restoration. Given the size of the database, this can take some time. Then we'll ensure that our tests with that data are also successful in our restoring everything we've intended to. Now, it says, with those things in place, we will be able to provide the ETA on the restoration. We are, of course, working on this ASAP timeline as we want you to get back in there without delay. We'll have news about the next steps in early next week if all goes well. So early next week, it looks like they're going to have news for us about the restoration and stuff like that. So stay tuned for any information about that. Now, a lot of you guys are wondering also about your legendary reward that you will be getting through the appreciation package that will be coming up here. So Izzy Overlord goes on to ask this: any info on the free legendary for the server problems? And Square Enix replies saying, we're focusing first on restoration of inventories and we'll look at this afterwards to ensure that the restorations go smoothly. So there you have an answer on that. That's good that they are going to be doing that as well with, I think they almost need like 2 appreciation packages or something to be blunt. But yeah, moving on, we're going to be talking about this right here, how Outriders commits one big looter shooter sin, but hopefully it doesn't commit the others, as Outriders saw nerf both in the free demo before launch and now class nerfs post-launch, leaving fans in fear of what could be next. And that's one of the biggest issues facing Outriders currently, is rebalancing the game after what they have done with nerf. So we're going to be talking about right now, this comes from Game Rant, all the links in the description. It says Outriders nerfs post-launch. So let's take a look at what this article has to say about that, and hopefully we can get some insight from People Can Fly soon about what they're going to do about the rebalancing. People Can Fly nerfed the Trickster's Twisted Rounds from having a 16-second cooldown to a 25-second cooldown, while also nerfing the Disruptive Power, Scion Power, and Outrider Executioner class nodes. What this meant for the Trickster is that they were decreased by 15% because these perks are too strong when paired with the Trickster's Twisted Rounds. Now, despite these nerfs, Twisted Rounds builds still run rampant, and players have found new ways to make the most out of them without even letting the ability actually go on cooldown. So, you know, there are ways around the nerf in a way, I guess you would say. Now they say this is achieved by running mods like Perpetuum Mobile on their main weapon, or by using Hunt the Prey with its complementary Tier 3 mod called Instant Reload. Both options make sure that the magazine is never depleted fully, thus making the skill become semi-permanent. Perpetuum Mobile is used on Pyromancers and Technomancers as well. So yeah, there are ways that you can actually... I still feel like the Trickster in many ways is viable despite some of the nerf stuff that has happened, but I think a lot of people want the Trickster back to the level it used to be. So let's keep going here. They say this: the Trickster was hit the hardest, but Pestilence Technomancer builds were hit hard as well. Much like People Can Fly nerfed the Trickster's Twisted Rounds because of how popular and how strong the ability was and still is, the Technomancer's Exposing Toxin now applies the vulnerable effect on all enemies that are afflicted, with the detrimental status effect, Toxic with a lower value. Now, vulnerable is a very powerful detrimental effect, as it makes enemies afflicted with it receive 15% increased damage, previously 25%. Furthermore, damage against poison suffered from a 15% reduction in extra damage for a total of 15% increase. Now, these nerfs were aimed at reducing how impactful Technomancer builds using blighted rounds were. So it all comes down to those ammo types in the game. But let me know. I am curious about something. With the nerfs that have happened, has it really set up a situation for you all where you have experimented more, where you've been like, well, I can't do that anymore, I got to do this and that, and experiment a lot more? Sound off in the comments down below if these nerfs that have happened recently are really that bad, or if it's an over-exaggeration in the community. Let me know. But I know for the most part, from what I'm seeing, the community does not like the nerfs. Now, since the Pyromancer was nerfed as well, albeit on a much smaller scale, reducing its Trial of Ash perk by 15%. This is in line with how People Can Fly nerfed class-specific nodes on the skill tree for the other two classes. Now, other nerfs did come in the form of loot. In fact, prior to the patch, players could repeat bounty hunt quests, historian quests, and monster hunt quests in order to get more loot, and this meant that players were again obtaining too many legendary items like in the demo. Another source of loot that was nerfed in the same patch is killing specific monsters over and over, like Cold Claw and Split Tooth, which no longer grant more than a single epic item per kill. So developer People Can Fly showed that it cares about balance in Outriders, even though the class nerf aspects of it does not make much sense to many in a PvE exclusive game. It is one of the things that many may drastically reduce the lifespan of a looter shooter as players invest their time into a character only to see their build nerfed. A much better approach to the whole situation would be to buff the weaker skills of each class to bring them up on par with more powerful ones. This would make it so the meta evolves in a way where build variety increases without punishing dedicated players for running a specific build like they have. That's the biggest problem, is when they nerf something and you've put your heart and soul into a character, you feel the pain. So going forward, they really need to be careful about nerfing guns and mods and nerfing core abilities. They really need to consider instead buffing. So that's going to be the future for Outriders. What the future's hanging on right now, in my opinion, is how they rebalance the game and restructure stuff. Because if they continually keep disappointing people that are, you know, running certain mains, and those mains become ults all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be a big, big problem. Alright, now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember, leave a comment down below. Could end up in a future video. So let's do this. Let's go to the video. My last video was called New Dev Team Update, and the big question, Outriders Live Service Update Model. So this was about a theory that perhaps, you know, Outriders should go 100% into a live service model because they're already updating the game as if it's a live service game anyway. So shouldn't they just put on the DLC on there as well? So let's see how you guys responded to this. Vapor says this: I think that is coming from a journo who literally is talking out of his butt. Doesn't need to go live service. So a lot of people upvoted that one. Silverwing says this has Square Enix written all over it. They really want a live service, but if they promise a live service and no one bought the game, Avengers, they would still have to make good on promises that don't make the money. Hawkeye update, yeah. Manos Soronis says game hasn't been out for a month. This guy, I want to see an Outriders too. Simon Jack says, seduced by the dark side of live service, you shall be known as Darth Vader. Conquest Gaming says melee is pretty fun, especially once you realize that every mod that allows your skills do X also includes melee. The possibilities are extensive. So yeah, I was recently showcased by an article that the melee builds in this game are extremely powerful actually, and I want to see, you know, a character that is more dedicated to a melee-centric build anyway, like that has a sword or something. I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool if they could include that, because they could do like all sorts of cool combo moves if they really, really want to. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more Outriders news and updates. And yes, I will keep you guys in the know as to what happens next. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.